So I was goofing off on the internet, trying to cheer myself off my usual depressed mood when I stumbled upon this gem.
This elite treasure!
To be honest, I forgot this show existed, mostly because I'm trying to survive college and any other dumb stuff that happens to me. But seeing that I really don't have anything else to talk about on this channel, might as well talk about this show for the time being. Kamp Koral, in case you don't know, is a spin-off to SpongeBob SquarePants, the show with 1 billion memes. No joke, the show gets memed every 5 seconds and I love it. But I digress. But this show doesn't have the same hype around it as the OG series. In fact, it's quite despised even before it came out. Mostly around whether the original show's creator, Steven Hindenburg, actually wanted it or not, or if Nickelodeon is basically committing creative grave robbing. Not only that, but it retcons major elements of the original series, such as the fact as all the main cast of SpongeBob meet at the summer camp as kids, despite the fact that SpongeBob only met Sandy in the first episode of the original series, which is set years after Kamp Koral, along with other characters that SpongeBob met for the first time in the OG series. The trailers for this show didn't really help much reception-wise, showing off its animation, which only looks slightly more polished than the original SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom way back in the day. So, we got allegedly not respecting the original wishes of the creator, massive retcon to the original series, and poor animation quality that has already aged badly. Yep, this isn't a good sign. But is the show really that bad? Is this truly the worst thing to happen to SpongeBob? Let's dive in and find out. The episode starts off with SpongeBob dreaming of catching a jellyfish, which is in character of him to do, so I can't complain. What I can complain about is the fact Sandy is here. In the first episode of the OG series, SpongeBob met Sandy for the first time. Key emphasis on first. SpongeBob didn't know her or even that she is a land animal. But here, they act like they know each other, and no one even talks about how Sandy isn't a fish. Also, why is Sandy even here? In the original series, Sandy lived in Bikini Bottom because of research and scientific endeavors. Here, she's just at summer camp, and there are totally not any summer camps on dry land. Nope, only in the ocean. Anyway, so SpongeBob wakes everyone up, and Mr. Krabs is there for some reason too. Seriously? Mr. Krabs and Plankton, yeah, he's here too, so I might as well throw him in as well, shouldn't be here. Now, in the original show, we don't really get their ages, but I always thought they were in their 40s at the very least, since they never gave off that vibe of being any more younger. But here, Mr. Krabs and Plankton seem to be really young. Like, maybe early, mid-20s? Really too young if you really think about it. Also, Mr. Krabs is the top boss and Plankton is the chef, which makes no sense when you think about it. Throughout the show, it's referenced that the Krusty Krab has been around even before SpongeBob was alive, so it makes no sense why Mr. Krabs is working at this camp. Now you might be saying, Canada doesn't really exist in SpongeBob, which is a fair point. However, I think it's fair to say if something was mentioned in the first few episodes of the show, or is referenced several times throughout the show's run, it's more set in stone. Also, the two are buddies here, at least in one scene. Now, in the original series, it's revealed that these two were friends, but they had a falling out due to the Krabby Patty formula, and it has been mentioned multiple times they were friends. But those events happened when they were kids. Here, they are adults, and they don't seem to mind each other. One last thing, we got Baby Pearl here, because we gotta milk that baby cash cow somehow, but this raises a more important question. Why is Mr. Krabs working here? I doubt that being a camp counselor pays much, and I know raising a kid costs a lot of money, so why is he even here? It's not like he enjoys it. The stuff we get with him implies he kind of hates it or doesn't have positive feelings towards it at the very least. Jeez, I'm not even at the 5-minute mark, I'm already complaining about all this dumb stuff. Oh no. Now we get a bunch of back-to-back jokes of SpongeBob being excited for jellyfishing.
And did you know that a jellyfish can lift 1,000 times its weight?
What? No way, Manta Ray! I'm stronger than a jelly! Bros and broettes, get on my back!
I don't know whether to laugh or feel sorry for him.
He wanted to make us laugh.
I feel sorry for him.
Now we get to the actual jellyfishing, where everyone is waiting to start doing that. Also, SpongeBob's neck can blow bubbles. Keep in mind that will hurt later. Also, now we get another set of jokes that fall flat. SpongeBob's jellyfishing being interrupted by outside forces, the worst being that his mom calls him, wanting to know if he caught a jellyfish. And the joke is way longer than how I said it. It goes on for 2 minutes. What? In case you don't know, you don't want to focus on a joke for too long since it might get stale and boring. Now, a good joke or a funny scene could last this long if it was written well. But the joke wasn't funny at the start and isn't funny at the end. Also, the joke doesn't make sense if you think about it. Why does SpongeBob's mom call him in the middle of the day when he's likely doing jellyfishing? Why not call him during the evening when he's likely relaxing? That's the perfect time to call him. And the scene gets worse from here. SpongeBob finally gets back and tries to capture the jellyfish, but every time he thinks he got one, it turns into a random object for no reason. It's not like he's seen things, since one jellyfish does sting him, then it disappears with no reason. How? Why? Also, we get this horrible sight. You might have noticed that this show's animation is very bland and ugly to look at. This animation looks a few decades behind other CGI shows that came out these past few years. It's very dull and not very colorful, which you'd think the creators of the show would try their most not to do, since this is one of the most colorful characters in animation history. Oh no. So after some more horrible sights, we get to the end of the day. SpongeBob is sad because he didn't catch a jellyfish, so Patrick and Sandy come up with a plan to help him. They convince Squidward to disguise himself as a jellyfish so SpongeBob can catch him. Not the worst plan ever. SpongeBob would be dumb enough to fall for it. But it goes awry when they accidentally wake up a dangerous animal who proceeds to eat Squidward. Okay, why is there a dangerous animal here? You might be saying, because it's the wild. Yeah, but here's the thing. This animal is incredibly dangerous as it destroys the camp, and they have no real way of stopping it. What? Why don't you guys have a plan to stop these things? Now, I never went to summer camp as a kid, so I can't speak from experience, but I can assume, at the very least, they might have a plan if a bear shows up, or they have something already that stops the animals from coming around, even in the wild parts. In the show, the plan is just run like crazy and hope for the best. Hell, SpongeBob and his friends are the only ones that are trying to stop the monster, which amounts to Jack when SpongeBob gets eaten. So, remember when I said about the bubble thing earlier? Well...
Because there's no problem that a bubble can't solve.
Yes, that's how it's won. I know SpongeBob isn't the most grounded of shows, but I doubt this would have been done in the earlier season of the show when it was really good. Anyway, after that, Patrick puts Squidward back into the jar thing so SpongeBob can catch him. However, Mr. Krabs says it doesn't count since Squidward isn't a real jellyfish, but SpongeBob gets the next best thing, and the only funny joke in the whole episode.
But what you do get is a saving a counselor from a monster badge. Congratulations, son.
Although, this raises more questions as Sandy points out.
Why is there a saving a counselor from a monster badge? Like, how often does that happen here?
Yeah, exactly. It's also just terrible counseling if the kids have to save the day since, making sure the kids are okay is kind of a part of the job description. We flash forward to nighttime where SpongeBob is hanging out with the gang, declaring he will catch a jellyfish, and then a bunch of jellyfish fly out of him. What? Is that where the jellyfish went after SpongeBob caught them? That makes no sense since they never got close to his spot to go in, nor did they go behind him. Whatever, let's just end this video. Oh no. Let's put aside whether the show went against the original creator's decisions and judge it on its own merits. Spoilers. It fails really, really badly. Most of the humor here falls pretty flat. Now, I know comedy is subjective and everyone has different tastes in whether something is funny or not, but I would find it hard to believe if anyone aside from little kids would find these jokes funny. Now, granted, that is the target demographic, and they are trying to reach it. But the charm of the OG older SpongeBob episodes is that the humor is funny even for adults. Old SpongeBob was proof that kids' cartoons can still be fun for adults, as seen by the fact that it's still being memed a whole lot even after decades. The show is the opposite. It's just dumb jokes that really don't have anything clever behind them when they say it. It's not going to be memed, it's just going to be mocked. But I would say the animation might be the worst aspect of the show. The CGI in the show looks like it could fit on a poorly aged PS2 game. The models look unpolished alongside the backgrounds. It looks like that they finished the rough models but ran out of money for the actual final models, so they have to use this. But that can't be true because the SpongeBob series has grossed over $14 billion. So money can't exactly be tight. Also, something I didn't mention in this review, but I really don't get why they kept the original voice cast, since all these characters are younger. Yeah, for Mr. Krabs, Plankton, and Larry the Lobster, it makes sense why those characters would still have the same voice. But it's just weird that SpongeBob has the same voice as he did as an adult. It's not even like the original actors were told to sound a bit younger. They just sound like they do in the original series, which they are all adults in. So in conclusion, what we got here is a disaster of a show that I haven't seen in a long time. This might actually be the worst thing to happen to SpongeBob. Could probably point to several horrible episodes of the original show and say, nah, that's worse. But I disagree. At least the bad episodes of the original show have good production value, and it feels like effort was being made. Here, it feels like catching on the brand name and trying to market the baby/younger versions of characters model. And regardless if the original creator approved of this show, one thing is for sure, it was just made to make money and nothing actually works in terms of creativity or interesting storytelling. Which ultimately might be the most pathetic reason to exist. Just to make money. Anyway guys, thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like what you see here, subscribe and leave a like. It really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching and have yourself a wonderful day.